I will read off a list of YouTubers, and this wheel will guess how they are cancelled. Our first transgression is pulling a BBL Drizzy. Second would be pulling an man is probably listening to Charlie XCX as I speak. Oh, no, pulling an I can't believe this keeps happening. I mean, they say it's people you would never expect. Uh-oh. Wait, it keeps landing on that one.
Who's the smallest you've ever had? Oh my god, do no one look at me, Cody Code. I can say that. I was literally 17, I can say. I was literally 17. I was literally 17. I was literally 17.
You know, in situations like this, you just have to laugh. If you want more details pertaining to the whole Cody Co fiasco, I will link D'Angelo Wallace's video in the description because, as much as I was joking when I made that how every YouTuber is going to get cancelled video, it really is astonishing the frequency with which these people do down low, dirty shit. It's like clockwork. You asked for it, we're doing a part 2, how every celebrity will get cancelled. Thank you for giving me suggestions in the community tab. Once again, we will be consulting the Wheel of Transgressions. First up, we got pulling a BBL Drizzy. Then we have miscellaneous mishaps. That's like pulling a Michael Vick. Oh, that one was a classic. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up. Then we got another classic, pulling an R. Kelly. Then we got a Twitter meltdown, sponsored by Ambien. Next up, we have They Just Get Annoying. Not really a transgression, but honestly, that can still do you in. Then we have Joining a Cult. Next up, slur alert. And finally, They Just Fall Off. Flop era. That happens to the best of us. Disclaimer. None of these are actual accusations. I am not implying, suggesting, or outright saying that any of these individuals have or will commit these specific transgressions. Please do not sue me. I have no assets for you to seize. Barring that dank self-portrait of me in the background. Ain't she a beauty? Okay, let us begin. Jennifer Coolidge, the buxom blonde herself. Oh gosh, I hope it doesn't land on BBL Drizzy. I got thick the way that God intended, with late night Wendy's and wine. Join a cult? Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Jennifer Coolidge does seem like she naturally just belongs in a muumuu. You know what I mean? Flowing garments, just standing on a balcony. I wouldn't be surprised if she ended up joining a cult, but like she wasn't aware of what actually was going on. She just liked the idea of like congregating in a desert and swaying back and forth gently. And it's not until like year 2 when she's given them like 100K plus that she realizes something fishy is going on. To be honest with you, I feel like she still contemplates staying because, I don't know, I just love the sense of community. I can see this for her. Up next, Lin-Manuel Miranda. Lyrical, miracle, spiritual. Wait, no, that's Eminem. Same difference at this point. Miranda might actually have more street cred. Don't let him catch you in the streets of Harlem. He'll start aggressively snapping at you down an alleyway, like the sharks in West Side Story. Let's see what it lands on. Oh! Oh dear. Pulling an R. Kelly. It's always the people you least expect. Could you imagine getting like kidnapped and held hostage by Lin-Manuel Miranda? You can hear him singing show tunes upstairs. That's how he tortures you. Gosh, I can't imagine. He comes down to the basement to give you like your daily allotment of stale bread. And he's like, does this sound good to you? And he starts like rapping a little snippet from the next Disney project he's working on. And you just think, you know what? I'd rather you kill me. Like, I'd rather you actually just take a bullet and put it in my cranium. Up next, Matthew Morrison. Best known for his Geneva Convention violating turn as Mr. Schuster in Glee. But what I remember him from is his role as Broadway Grinch. Oh no, okay. So we got smack dab in the middle of miscellaneous mishaps and pulling an R. Kelly. He played a weird teacher for so many years, only to find out that he wasn't acting. The miscellaneous mishaps. You know, I don't see him as a Michael Vick type. I don't think it'd be dog fights. I think maybe, perhaps, chickens. Could you imagine Matthew Morrison is just found in like Tijuana, wearing a little sombrero, 3 days into a bender, just throwing money in the middle of a cockfight. Not even American dollars. They're not even pesos either. It's like Canadian currency and Chuck E. Cheese tokens. I can see that. I might join him. Keanu Reeves. He just looks like he'd smell really nice, like a warm Hawaiian breeze. I bet that at the end of every day, he just walks into the ocean and lets the water consume him. And then every morning he emerges from a patch of sea foam. This one is going to be devastating. Oh my gosh! It keeps landing on this one! I've always thought that I had better hair than him. It's kind of dry today, so shut up about it. But now, hearing from the Wheel of Transgressions that this is what he was up to the whole time, I don't feel bad. Eat your heart out, Keanu. Up next, the entire cast of Modern Family. I'm doing all of them at once, not each one individually. Season 1 cast as well, because I want the children to still be children when they commit these transgressions. Oh. Fall off. That was anticlimactic. I don't know why I'm not upset that I couldn't make a joke about the child actor who played Lily committing some sort of federal offense. Wouldn't that be so funny? I would have just put an image of like the baby that played Lily and then put like diddler underneath as a caption. That would have made me laugh. But I guess they just become irrelevant. Up next, we got Penguin Oz. Moist Critical. It's the guy on YouTube. I want to break into his house and take that long hair of his and just make like 2 little braids. I would steal nothing. I wouldn't do anything else in the house. That's all I'd want to do. And then I'd just dip. I don't know where that came from. Could you imagine you just wake up and your hair is braided? The oddly specific sense of horror that would wash over your body, knowing that someone broke into your house and that's all they did was touch your hair. If you're a creep out there, feel free to steal that idea. I'm a woman of the people. Oh. Okay, to be fair, it's like smack dab in the middle of falling off and pulling a baby actress. You know what, Charlie? Is that his name? I think it is. I'm not gonna sit here and say I would not think that this person would do this or that because frankly, I don't know any of these people. I'm not gonna be throwing around like serious accusations. But I would hope, if anything, that Moist Critical just got a BBL. Wouldn't that be sickening? Maybe that's what this wheel is prophesizing, is he's gonna get a giant tuchus on that skinny body. He's gonna walk into his Twitch stream just absolutely bodied out. And no explanation. He's never gonna comment on it, he's gonna deny it. I want to see that. All right, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I want to climb onto him and fuse into his back like a tiny mole. Not in like a sensual way either. I just kind of want to use him as like a human Uber, you know, hop a ride on his back. Like a plague-infested flea hitches a ride on the back of rats galloping into Europe. Join a cult. Once again, I can see this happening, but it would have to be tailored around like weird performative acts of fitness, like an exercise version of WeWork, where they like build a community and people don't realize it's cultish until they step back and they're like, this is weird, and we're really isolated from everybody who isn't a part of this community. I'd imagine that Dwayne would have to be a higher up. I can't imagine him being a subordinate. He's a brand like Disney, right? Very, very clean, very calculated, very strategic. You know, I understand, okay? That's what you have to do when you're an A-lister. You have to be a representative of yourself. You can't really be who you really are. But you look deep down at Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's eyes, and there's a fire there. And I feel like if he joined a cult, and he became like a high-ranking member, not Scientology, not something ghetto like that, okay? But something more freelance, oh, I can imagine him cracking the whip. I can imagine him getting violent, strangling 2 people at once with his giant, meaty Samoan hands. I hope it happens, and I know that the HBO documentary on it is going to be sickening. Up next, we have Weird Al Yankovic. We have a very similar curl pattern to our hair, and that doesn't sit right with me. There can only be one. We also both make satirical music. The difference is that I can say the N-word in my songs. I mean, technically so can he. Miscellaneous mishaps. I mean, this could mean anything, though. It's gotta be bad enough for him to get canceled, so I don't know. Hit and run? Is that a mishap? Oh my gosh. What if he gets canceled because he like lied about being Jewish this whole time? Is he even Jewish? I'm not gonna look it up. What if he'd been pulling like a Jewish version of a Rachel Dolezal this entire time? And we all saw that curl pattern and we were like, yeah, that makes sense. You know, he seems like he could be a member of the tribe. And it turns out he was a goy the whole time. I'm hoping that's what it was. Up next, John Stamos. He like invented Greek yogurt or something. I don't know. He also has an interesting belly button. Okay, well, he just falls off. It's fine. If I was that attractive and looked that good into my 50s, I would be okay falling off. Is that even really a tragedy? Oh, you're attractive and you're still rich, and people leave you alone. Ugh, that's the dream. Up next, Beyoncé. Honey, honey, I can see your side chicks all the way from here. That sounded nothing like her. Moving on. Don't come for me all. Twitter meltdown. Okay, listen. When I think of Twitter meltdown, right? I guess people think of like Roseanne, but that wasn't really a meltdown. That was like one tweet. I'm talking about like a series of tweets. What do you think it would be about? Ooh, I think if like Jay-Z cheats again, which, I mean, no offense, allegedly. Would y'all be shocked? I'm sorry, I was listening to Ring the Alarm the other day. This is from what, a decade before Lemonade came out? There was a little bit too much real, genuine anger in that song. I'm being serious. You go back to her old catalog, every song that's like about being in love, she's just like, yeah, I'm so excited. I love being in love with you. There was Crazy in Love, which was the beginning of their relationship. I'm assuming he wasn't, sticking his pickle where it shouldn't be. But as the relationship progressed, I don't want to be a gossip monger, but I'm just saying, you go back and listen to her discography, all the love songs are like, she's checked out. All the songs about getting cheated on, leaving a man on red, burning down his house, all those songs, oof, you could hear in her voice, it was a little personal. So I'm just saying, if she has a Twitter meltdown, I would not want to be Becky with the good hair on that day. But I suppose that she wouldn't get canceled for something like that. She would have to sprinkle in like a little something, a little maybe a little slur, you know what I mean? Maybe it just gets like a little bit too misogynistic, that like the veneer, the illusion of the girl boss shatters. I kind of want to see it. Up next, we have Taylor Swift. I'm hearing really great things about her. I feel like this is gonna be her year. Uh-oh, slur alert. Okay, this is my dream for how she would say a pejorative. I want her to wait until it's like the absolute end of the Eras tour and she gets on stage and she's like, hey guys, after almost 2 decades of a career, you guys giving me everything that I've ever wanted, I just want to say slur. And she goes off. She says every single one. Normally she'll write like a 13 on the back of her hand, because that's like the number you have to say 3 times in a mirror to summon her. But this time around, it's just going to be pejoratives on her hand. And she squints a little too, because she's been sweating. So some of them have like smudged a little bit. So she says a few of them incorrectly. And she just keeps going. And the crowd's like, what? What's going on? As you diehard fans, they start joining in. You know what I mean? Because they want to show support. I would say their hearts are in the right place, but that's just not true. If she's gonna be taken down because of saying a slur, I hope she does it in the only way that she knows how, in a giant arena surrounded by diehard fans. And the crazy thing is, a lot of the Swifties on Twitter, they'll find a way to do a PR spin on this. They're gonna find some way to say that it was like a performance art piece or something. Gosh, I hope that happens. Fingers crossed. Katt Williams. I'm gonna be cast as this man in an unofficial biopic. You know, like the one that Wendy Williams did about Elia? Or Leah? My bad if I mispronounced it. The film will be absolutely horrible. I can't wait to get my little Al Sharpton perm though, just to get into character. And that will be my humiliation ritual. Fall off. I'm not gonna lie, in the case of Katt Williams, I think that the falling off won't be figurative. I think he'll literally just fall off a stage and die. Maybe not a stage, but like a platform of some sort. Perhaps like a balcony, or maybe like he'll fall out of a tree, or something of that sort. Up next, Danny DeVito, a spherical deity. I want to bounce his body like a basketball. This is getting scary. Could you imagine getting diddled by someone who's shorter than you? I'd be so pissed. I guess you could fight him off easier than, I don't know, someone who's built like Shaq. Could you imagine? Spherical body just coming at you. He has a low center of gravity though, so it'd be hard to topple him over. His body just looks so soft though. Like he doesn't even have internal organs. It's just made out of like margarine or melted butter. So even if you manage to get a sharp object and you just sort of sliced into him, I think the consistency of what would come out of his body would be like cutting into a tres leches cake. Moving on. Timothée Chalamet. I feel like this boy has rickets. I mean, he'd still be fashionable if his legs were crooked. I'd wrap little bow ties around his inverted knees. I think I'm mistaking rickets for polio. I just like that he looks as if he would be shocked if he figured out how electricity works. Oh. Alright, well, that's a little disappointing. I'm not gonna lie. Once again, similar to Katt Williams, I don't think the falling off is just going to be he fades into obscurity. I think he's gonna fall off of like a trampoline, and then when his body hits the ground, he's gonna shatter like a porcelain doll. Or Kanye West in that one music video with Carrie Hilson. I think she's a flat earther now. That might be me in the future. Will Smith. Fight Club 2.0. That was the only reason the Oscars was even remotely entertaining that year. No shade, Chris Rock. I feel like at this point, being a comedian that gets hired to do the Oscars is like jury duty. Like they have blackmail on you or something for you to do that gig. Okay. Slur alert. Okay, well, he can say the N-word, so that's out. What other slurs? Ooh, maybe something homophobic. Yeah, I can see that happening, because there are always those rumors that swirl around him about him, like, being on the down low, which, I don't care. I'm not going to feed into that nonsense. However, wouldn't it be hilarious if he snapped? Like a comedian made a joke. Chris Rock, okay, this is my version of the incident happening at the Oscars. Chris Rock makes a joke about, Will Smith being like a butty boy, and that's when he snaps. I'm sick and tired of having to defend myself against these accusations, and he goes on like a tirade. So instead of going like, keep my wife's name out your mother effing mouth, he's just like, I ain't no bleep. Bleep, 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 bleep. Like he just goes in every single homophobic pejorative you can imagine. And Chris Rock is up there like, okay. And then it pans out to the audience and everyone is shocked, except for like Elton John for some reason, who's just giggling up a storm. And then Jada goes on to a podcast the next week and she's like, no, he actually is in the closet. Yeah, he's been like that for several years now. I just thought that was information that I needed to share with you, the public, even though none of you asked. Yeah, that's how I think it would go down. Up next, Steve Carell. What if the Brew voice is just what he really sounds like, and the Steve Carell voice is the actual act? Let's hope it's nothing bad, because I like Mr. Carell. Oh, okay, it's kind of smack dab in the middle, but it's moving towards a Twitter meltdown, or they just get annoying. Okay, it's more of a Twitter meltdown. You know what I think it could be? Something weirdly political, you know what I mean? It's not going to be any pejoratives. It's going to be like full-on tinfoil hat conspiracy. I don't know, maybe it'll be a bunch of things. It'll be stuff, he'll be throwing everything at the wall. He'll be like an Alex Jones type, where like, he says a lot of stuff. It's a buffet line of conspiracies, but like 30% of what he says actually has some merit to it. And then it's not until like 10, 15 years down the line that we realize like, wait a minute, no, he had a point about this. I think that's what's gonna happen. He's gonna be in his like Massachusetts mansion, maybe throwing back a few drinks, and he's like, you know what? Let me destroy my reputation. Let me actually tell people what I really have been thinking this entire time. Gosh, I hope he does it. BTS. I'm gonna tread with caution on this one. Remember, don't get mad at me, get mad at the wheel. Okay. No. Okay. Oh no. Okay. It's kind of in between. Was in between pulling a BBL Drizzy and miscellaneous mishaps. Well, okay. No, listen. They have a lot of young fans. If they pulled a BBL Drizzy, I'm not saying that they would. I am not, again, mad at the wheel, not me. Don't leak my address. I know y'all got free time. In terms of pulling a BBL Drizzy, I mean, unfortunately, a lot of young female fans, male artists doing something like this is not exactly unheard of. In regards to the miscellaneous mishaps, okay, my theory, it affects to North Korea. Yeah? That's culturally specific. I feel like that's what they would do, and people would be, flabbergasted. And then they would just start doing, like, propaganda pieces for Kim Jong-un. Like, same exact dance moves. The songs are pretty catchy, you know what I mean? Because they take a few of, like, their production team with them, but it's just all propaganda. Y'all will still dance to it. I know you will. Up next, another K-pop group, Blackpink. Let's see what it lands on. Okay, that was Twitter meltdown. See, this is the problem with individuals in, the idol industry, is they've basically been molded since they were kids to kind of keep their mouth shut on a lot of things. So you never really know who they truly are and what they really think they're not allowed to. And it's, no shade to them. I get it. They're contractually obligated to keep a squeaky clean image. But I cannot imagine all four of them. What would their Twitter meltdown be about? What if they're not even Asian? Okay. I don't know if this really counts as like a Twitter meltdown, but I'm just trying to think. I can't imagine them doing anything on Twitter that would be in character that would also get them canceled. But it turns out they were actually just doing yellowface the entire time, and none of them were even Asian. I'm not saying it would be right, but I am saying I'd be gagged. I'd be like, first of all, those are some pretty good prosthetics, first and foremost, but also Jenny, Lisa, the other two. I can't believe you would do this. That's so messed up. That's my conspiracy. Blackpink isn't even Asian. Next. RuPaul Charles. I should have put fracking on this wheel.
Oh, the fracking?
No, not that.
Oh.
Okay, let's see. Okay. First of all, it landed on this one. It landed on the R. Kelly. This world is a sick, disgusting place. Imagine, you wake up with shackles on you in a warehouse. Lights turn on. You see RuPaul in full drag at the end of a runway, and you're like, oh my gosh, is this hell? And then he's like, Shantae, if you want to survive, you better work it. And then you and everybody else who's in captivity has to like lip sync for your life, and it's like to a Donna Summer song, you know what I mean? And halfway through it, like there's tears streaming down everyone's face. You realize like, wait a minute, this is kind of fun. You know what I mean? Like you make eye contact with the cameras this is not being broadcasted. This is just like stuff that he's recording to watch on his own, like a sick freak that he is. And you realize, you know what? I might as well turn it out. You start death dropping. You start doing the splits. The other people see what you're doing and they're like, okay, well, I know that I'm like scared for my life, but I'm not going to be shown up. I'm not going to be shown up. And it turns out to be the best lip sync imaginable. That's how I think it would go down. Gordon Ramsay. I want him to yell at me. Like, I want him to rip me to shreds. I'd be so excited while he did it too. Like, I'd be crying, but I'd be smiling at the same time. It would be so scary. All right, let's see. Ooh, Twitter meltdown. Okay. He has the rage in him. What if it was just full-blown, like, women hating, where he's just like, women belong in the kitchen, not because they can cook, you know, but like, because they need to be like subservient to men or something like that. And he just keeps going. He just keeps going and going and going and going. And everyone is like, Gordon, is everything okay? Like, did your wife leave you or something? And he starts pulling like a few like Andrew Tate isms. He starts posting like videos of himself shirtless, wearing like tiny silk shorts, talking about how Western women are all vile next to like a roaring fire, like a misogynistic version of FDR. Or he just starts talking about Brexit, like it's currently happening. Like he's several years too late to this conversation. And then in between he just throws in like a phenomenal recipe for beef Wellington, you know, because he has a brand to uphold. I think that could work. I think that could happen. Yeah, I see it. Trixie Mattel. I met Trixie Mattel in the fall of 2017, and I told her how giraffes mated. She did not think it was funny. That's not even a joke, by the way. That actually happened. Let's see what this natural beauty will do to get cancelled. Miscellaneous mishaps. I feel like that's fitting, no? What if it turns out that some of the makeup in the Trixie line is like lead-based? And like she knew the whole time. And then Brian's justification is like, well, I've always been known to be retro. Ooh, that could work, honestly. It's something like FDA violating. Ooh, maybe some of the Trixie merch is being made in like a sweatshop by Uyghurs. I shouldn't laugh, it's horrible. Oh yeah, I could see that. Some unethical business practices. That makes sense. Tell me down below. How do you think Trixie Mattel is gonna get cancelled? Up next, Musings of a Crouton. I don't know who that is, but she sounds like really cute and funny. I'm scared. Okay, well, that was like right between pulling an R. Kelly and a Twitter meltdown. I just want to say, oh crap, okay, I'm sorry. I have to like wear something more pious, like a turtleneck and have a neutral background, but I might as well just get the apology out now. I am so ashamed for what I did, mostly because I got caught, not because I actually did it. I want to apologize to all of my fans. This isn't me. Oh, who am I kidding? I wouldn't make an apology video. I would own it. I would own it all the way to that jail cell. Actually, I hope not. I hope that in a few years I'm making enough money where I wouldn't have to face actions for my consequences. Isn't that the goal? Yeah, that is the goal. Betty White, if she was still alive today. I'm the reason that Betty White died. I'm not going to elaborate, but let's just say it involved a flight of stairs. Okay. Just getting annoying. Oh, well, you know, it could have been worse. I could have been, insulting a legend in a way that's way more offensive than they just got annoying. Gotta disagree with the wheel here. Betty White could never get annoying. I'm sorry, Mrs. White. I didn't mean to disrespect you like that in the grave. I hope that when we meet in the afterlife, you don't, like, punch me in the throat or something. Actually, wait, no, I kind of hope you do. Up next, Jack Nicholson. What a fashion icon. If I ever get invited to a red carpet event, you know, hopefully the premiere of, I don't know, the next Alvin and the Chipmunks movie, I'm gonna pull a Jack Nicholson and just show up looking like this. Looky here. Okay, that landed, if you saw that, it landed again. Once again. I'm not rigging this. Y'all are seeing it land on this option every single time. Katt Williams was right. Okay, up next we have Hasbullah. He's this guy.
Cola. Pizza.
I don't want to patronize him because he is a grown man with a genetic condition. But every single time I see his little fingers wrap around a tiny Slavic strawberry and start nibbling on it, I just want to squeeze his little cheeks. But he's like 20-something years old, so he'd probably bite me on the finger. And then I'd remember like, oh no, this isn't even a kid, this is a grown man. And then I'd fling him against the wall and then hear a soft crunch. Okay. Oh, they just get annoying. The faster they rise, the harder they fall. You know what? I'm glad that I didn't have to make an offensive joke about Hasbullah pulling an R. Which, I'm sorry. Imagine. I'm sorry. I know I kind of say this regarding Danny DeVito, but it's the joke of pulling an R. Kelly as Hasbullah? I mean, how? Not even as an adult, even if you were like a 12-year-old. I mean, you could just kick him. You could probably punch a hole through his torso. Up next, Pauly Shore. If you are younger than 30 years old, Pauly Shore was the man behind the infamous English voiceover for this Pinocchio film.
Father, when can I leave to be on my own?
And you know what the kicker is? That's just what his voice sounds like. Pauly Shore. Pauly Shore. Slur alert. That makes sense. It wouldn't even be like coming from a place of hatred. I don't think he'd be hurling the pejorative at a person. I feel like he would just casually say a word, and then people on Twitter would be like, "That's offensive. Like that's an epithet," and he'd be like, "What? I thought that's epithet. Isn't that like what they write on like a gravestone?" And then people would realize like, oh, he does not have a career that we can cancel. Up next, Gene Wilder, torturing kids in a warehouse, being an alcoholic in the desert, and a disgruntled academic. Every one of his most iconic roles are just different versions of me in an alternate universe. Okay. Miscellaneous mishaps. I don't know, what would that even be, like tax evasion? Could you get canceled for that, though? Ugh, I mean, who cares? No one's on the side of the IRS. Well, he's dead, so, you know, what better way to honor heroes of comedy than to completely fabricate transgressions that they would have committed in real life? I can't imagine it would be anything violent. I think it would be financial. I think he'd pull like a Nicolas Cage and just not pay his taxes for several years. I don't know if that's enough to get him canceled. Maybe it turns out he had like weird financial connections to Epstein or something like that. Oh yeah, that's good. That's a great baseless accusation to end the section on. Sabrina Carpenter. I'm very glad that she's getting her moment, honestly. I remember 6 years ago, I was driving home on my way from community college, just wanting to die. And I'd listen to her songs and think, this is catchy. Olivia Rodrigo was like in utero at the time. Isn't it just delicious that the two girls from that it's not exactly a triangle, it's more of like an arrow, are finally getting their success? I don't know what happened to the boy. All right, let's see. She's dating that Irish bog man, so let's hope that he doesn't Oh! Twitter meltdown. Okay, I think it might be related to the Irish bog man, because, imagine if this was like a situation where, I don't know, supposedly he was married with a kid and he ended up getting with her, and maybe that turns into a whole scandal and she gets onto Twitter and she's just like, I think that cheating is fine. I don't mind being the other woman. This is pure speculation. I don't know what happened in that relationship specifically, but I feel like the Twitter meltdown, I don't think it would be conspiratorial. Though if Sabrina Carpenter turned out to be a flat earther, wouldn't that be hysterical? I always love that. I always love when a celebrity turns out to be a flat earther. It's just so... It's so delicious. Like, yo, you really have a lot of free time on your hands, don't you? But I think it would be related to that. I think it would be related to an interpersonal relationship. I don't think it would be racial. I don't think that it would be political. I don't think it would be conspiratorial. You know, I don't think she'd be like pulling a Kanye. I think it would be interpersonal beef, similar to like Ariana Grande. That's what I think would happen. But then she'd drop a song that's a banger, and then she'd like recut her bangs or something. And by the time that 12-year-olds are doing like new dances to the TikTok sounds that come out of that new single, no one will care. And I will be one of those people that doesn't care. Dolly Parton. I was gonna do her voice, but I legitimately cannot do her accent. Hee, I'm Dolly Parton. That was disgusting. That was the worst thing that has ever come out of my mouth. Let's just spin. Oh, okay. That's smack dab in between Twitter meltdown and they just get annoying. Okay. You know what? I don't like either one of those. I feel like what's gonna get her canceled is like Dollywood turns out to be a front. You know what I mean? Like, they're cooking up some fenny in there. As unethical as that is, I'm not gonna lie, I'd watch that season of Narcos in a heartbeat. Alright, next, Lana Del Rey. Visited Manson in his jail cell. Got knocked up in the back of a Taco Bell. Okay, let's see. You know, it's about time we got a woman. Okay, it keeps moving. It keeps moving. It landed on this one. Y'all saw it. I don't know what to say. All of those references to Lolita, they're finally starting to make sense now. Up next, Julia Fox.
What is a muse?
I mean, I was Josh Safdie's muse when he wrote Uncut Gems.
Right.
She really took those 15 minutes of fame with that meme and made a whole career out of it. Good for her. Oh, in between Fall Off and pulling a BBL dress. Falling off, I can imagine. I don't know if she would really fall off as much as she would probably just deliberately dip. Pulling a BBL dress, ugh, I don't want it to be true. I choose not to believe it. I am blind. I do not see it, therefore it does not exist. Metallica, the whole band. Oh, okay, that wasn't them. First of all, I didn't even do that right. And I know that's not Metallica, okay? I know that's not Metallica. I know that's like Korn? That's not right, is it? Maroon 5? I don't care. Okay, the way it landed was between pulling an R. Kelly and miscellaneous. I'm gonna go with the miscellaneous mishaps. The only thing I know about Metallica besides them being a pretty big hard metal band was that one documentary that came out in like 2000 or something that was like behind the scenes, and it turns out they were really like dysfunctional people. Yeah, of course, they're in a hard rock group. I would say miscellaneous mishaps. I'm gonna assume it's substance related. Maybe it turns out like one of them laced, you know, another person's joint with PCP or something of that sort, you know what I mean? Ooh, I could see that happening. And then the guitarist just goes on like a massive bender and ends up like eating someone's face. No, that's bath salts, not PCP. Or maybe it's both. I don't know. I've never tried. Have you tried those two substances? If so, tell me down below. How were they? Would you recommend them? Did they make you see God? Let me know. Hosier! He's probably in a swamp right now. I'm gonna serenade a banshee. This isn't even funny anymore. I want to go home. Tom Holland. You think that Zendaya gives him like a little piggyback ride whenever he's upset? I'd like to think so. Let's see what this little British Spider-Man does. Oh. Okay. Y'all saw what it technically landed on. Okay, well, now it's still, okay, it's on something that's slightly less transgressive, but it's still within that same category. You know what? I don't have a joke. I ran out of jokes to make on this subject, okay? You know what? Let's give it one more spin. Oh, okay. That's kind of in between saying a slur and falling. It's on falling off. I'll take that. Okay, the wheel has redeemed Tom Holland. You won't be a monster. You'll just be a failure. The Kardashians. I really wish that Kourtney would start narrating, like, harrowing audiobooks, you know? First they came for the socialists, and I said nothing. Twitter meltdown. You know what it's gonna be? Anti-vax. That's right. I can definitely see Kourtney in particular going down that route. And I'm not talking about, like, COVID. I'm talking about, like, measles and polio. I would never inject my baby with chemicals. It's not organic. Whenever my kids get sick, we just take them out into the woods and wait for death to take them. Yeah. Tyler, the Creator. He's surprisingly just gotten less transgressive over the years, which is shocking, to be honest with you. I feel like he needs to make a comeback. He needs to go back to his 2012 days of just saying stuff that was super out of pocket. Well, that'll do it. Let's move on. Jennifer Lawrence. I remember when the internet was absolutely obsessed with her, and then they got bored. This is what they do with absolutely every single person that gets put on a pedestal. You're cool, you're carefree, you're the girl next door. Second later, you're kind of a pick-me, and you try way too hard to be the cool girl. Public approval is just so fickle. That's why I hate y'all. Let's see what Miss Lawrence... I'm gonna jump out of my window. Okay, up next, Nick and Joe Jonas. But not Kevin. Let's see what the two of them do together. Some brotherly bonding. Twitter meltdown. Ooh, okay, I got an idea. Y'all remember when they were wearing those like purity rings? Because they're like the son of a pastor. And I remember being, you know, young and being like, oh, that's so cool. They're staying like pure. Now I think back to the fact that they were children and go, aren't the rings sort of redundant? Y'all are like 14. You better not be diddling anybody. I mean, granted, those rings really didn't last very long, and I mean, really, and beyond a certain point, nobody believed they were keeping themselves pure for marriage. I mean, come on. So they dropped the PR stunt. Now, I can only imagine that their Twitter meltdown consists of them going through a list of like all of the shenanigans that were happening behind the scenes. You know what I mean? Like all the people who were wearing purity rings. Okay, this is what they were doing. And they just start listing out scandalous actions of Disney stars behind the scenes. Name after name after name. They're posting screenshots. They're posting images. They are posting evidence. That's what I think they would do. You know what I mean? That's what I think they would do. And it would be because they got snubbed for some sort of like Disney anniversary event. You know what I mean? Like the other people from Camp Rock got invited, but we didn't. Okay, y'all want to play it like that? We'll expose you. That's what I think they would do. Travis Kelce, Mr. Taylor Swift. Let's see. Let's see what this Green Day Packer does. Wait, he's not a Green Day Packer. What is he? Caucasian. Let's see. It's kind of in between Twitter meltdown and they just get annoying. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I do remember that he collaborated with Pfizer for some sort of vaccine promotion, and they had to turn off the comments, obviously, because these are football fans and they're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe Bill Gates got you too, Travis. But what if he does the exact opposite? Instead of like an anti-vax, he goes the other way around and he's like, actually, it's a good thing to be chipped. You know what I mean? And Bill Gates is like, shh, you can't be spreading that. Not misinformation, because like they're working on it. I don't think the current one has a chip in it, but like, you know, that's Bill Gates' dream. If anything, it's not even a conspiracy. It's like, that's their ambition. That's the goal. And so I think that's what he does. I think he goes on a tirade where he says a little bit too much. You know what I mean? He overheard something that was going on in those like secret meetings that the rich and powerful people throw behind closed doors where they're all wearing like masks and they sacrifice a virgin and then have like little appetizers. And Travis said a little too much, just a little too much. And then he's found to have like unalived himself with 2 bullet wounds to the back of his head. I can see that happening. And then Taylor Swift like makes it her mission to expose them, but then they get her too. But they're more subtle with her. I think they'll pull like a Mossad. You know what I mean? They'll give her like a heart attack on stage. Ooh, wouldn't that be delicious? They'd be like, yeah, you want to go against us? We'll unalive you in front of all of your 12-year-old fans. Give them something to remember. I should write like spy novels. I really should. Ryan Seacrest. Every time I think about Mr. Seacrest, I'm reminded of this one clip.
You do? You put spray cologne on your girl?
I spray girls' cologne on my pillows to make me think they're there.
But you just do, like, your girl leaves the house and you're like, come here, baby.
Oh, no.
What a moment in history. Let's see what this former American Idol host is up to now. Okay. I'm glad that this is ending on a pretty anticlimactic note, I'm not going to lie. A Twitter meltdown once again. I can't imagine Ryan Seacrest knowing information about literally anything I personally would give a rat's sweet patootie about. He pulls a Katt Williams. He knows about stuff that goes on in Hollywood behind the scenes, and you're like, it's Ryan Seacrest. What the heck does he know? But what if he decides, you know what, I'm also gonna get a perm and go on that Man with the Really Giant Heads podcast, and I'm gonna start spilling the beans. I'd like to see that. Oh boy, would I like to see that. Some of the stuff that he's saying be wrong or completely fabricated, I don't care. I just want to see someone stir the pot. I think that's a good way to end this video, which turned out to be not as amusing as I thought it was. I'm not gonna lie, I did not expect the R. Kelly option to get selected so frequently. I don't know if that's a sign. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. A sign. Oh my gosh, I'm so pretentious. As if like God or the universe cares enough about this stupid little YouTube video to be putting like subliminal messages in it. Anywho, tell me down below, which one of these do you think is actually bound to happen? I'm not even lying. Tell me in the comments down below, because imagine like 5 years from now, it turns out one of these things actually happens to be true. Don't you want to be that person that can go back to your comment and be like, see, I told you, I was right. I hope I'm not. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Tell me if you want me to do another part to this. Well, whoopee. Thank you for watching. Shout out to my top patrons. If you would like to donate to my Patreon, the link is in the description or on screen. Thank you to my other lovely patrons. Your names should be scrolling on screen as I speak. I upload new videos to my Patreon every single freaking week, so if you want to see even more of me, go check it out. Bye.